Hey guys, coming to you from Las Vegas again this week where I'm recapping our community meetup. Richard and I dig into the latest American Airlines credit card. Spoiler alert, he and I do not see eye to eye on this, but he does bring good news from Bilt, including the new Bilt Cash, and we're also talking about this month's Red Day. Let's dig into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Miles to Go podcast. We have a lot to cover today. We've got a rent day for Bilt, and we got some Bilt Cash, and a whole lot of other stuff. But Mr. Kerr and I both have some travel updates for this week as well. And I think Mr. Kerr might have some fighting words when it comes to talking about Philadelphia versus New York.
Apparently that's a big deal.
Well, at least to this New Yorker, it is. But
yeah,
how are you, Mr. Kerr? I've missed you.
Good, man. Another busy week. We popped down to Philly and back. We got the in-laws in town, our first family visitors. My brother came for dinner one night, but he was here for one night for business, so that didn't really count. Got the family staying here. We got Ed about to hawk up along, and then I'm off to Toronto. Got another busy week. Got Toronto this week, and then I have some family coming in town.
And you're doing the Billy Bishop for Toronto, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, we got a little Bombardier Q400-8 to Newark
Q400.
to Billy Bishop and back. So I think the taxi in Newark will probably be longer than the flight. We'll see. That's where the over-under is.
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, but a lot of short trips for you with Philly and Toronto, both very close by. A lot different than normal with your normal commute back and forth to New York.
Efficient, man. I like it. Super efficient.
Yeah, well, and I don't know. You said you want to talk about Amtrak, but did you get to try the new train?
I didn't. I did not get to try the new train. You want to do the housekeeping, or you want me to jump right into Amtrak?
You know what? I will do housekeeping just for you.
There you go.
But only for you. Everybody else will do it later. So if you want to leave us a voicemail or text us 571-293-6659, ed@pizzainmotion.com. If you want to shoot us an email, he is at Kerrpoints on all those social media channels. I am still at Pizza in Motion. So yeah, let's talk about a little Motown Philly action and Mr. Kerr on the Amtrak out of town.
Well, it's very convenient. I tell you what, man, because you show up to Penn Station 10 minutes before boarding starts, which is like 5 minutes before departure, and you're in Moynihan, if I'm pronouncing that right, Moynihan.
Moynihan Trail, Moynihan Hall, right next to the Postal Service.
Yeah, great improvement to the New York infrastructure. We don't get to say that very often. We've got a nice food court. It's got restrooms, and then has a new Metropolitan Lounge if you have Amtrak Lounge access, which I did not. Had a business class ticket down to Philadelphia for one night. Spoke at the Point Sky staff offsite. 170 TPG staff gathering at the W Philadelphia. They filled up a big old conference room. I was like, I thought I was coming to speak for chat with 10 people. And taxi from the train station got there, and there was like a gaggle of everybody that had these TPG badges on. I was like, oh my gosh, how many people were here? That was a lot of fun. Cut off with a lot of folks I hadn't seen since I left. Had a very nice room at the W Philadelphia. I haven't stayed at a W, man, in probably 10 years.
Yeah, same.
The view was fantastic from this room up on the 43rd floor of downtown Philly, right overlooking Independence Hall. I think that's what it is, Independence Hall right there. A lot of amenities. I'll tell you what, the most interesting and great idea, but poorly executed welcome amenity. It was make your own espresso martini. It was like a little glass of cream and then a little glass of the espresso liqueur. The problem was I didn't get in that room until about 7 o'clock because I had a long day in New York and then hopped on the train down. So if I had poured those together, I would assume that the cream would have just started curdling, and it had like little instructions for make your own thing. And I was like, you know what, this is a great idea. I'm going to pass on that. And ended up, I chatted to everybody else and said, hey, everybody else get this espresso martini welcome thing. Like, yeah, I poured the espresso liqueur in there. Everything just started to curdle. And I was like, yeah, again, great idea. Could have been really cool, but I needed to be a refrigerator or something. But absolutely huge room that they put me in there. This separate suite. Had never been a suite at the W before. Really enjoyed it. I have no idea how much that would be per night or how many Marriott points that would be per night. But the Amtrak ride, man. So first of all, way better than flying. Unfortunately, with my schedule, there was still only one next gen per day. It looks like running the Acela.
They're really spinning them up slowly.
Yeah, apparently there's like a whole yard of these brand new trains that are just chilling there. It's still getting into service. So back on the old train again. My observation is if you get motion sickness, I don't know if the next gen trains are any better, man, but you're going to really struggle on the Acela. Like it is, you're getting jerked around there, and it's just wild expensive, dude. I think one way between New York and Philly, which was like right at an hour, maybe an hour and 5 minutes, was close to $200 for a business class ticket each way. So it's It's rough, but very convenient. Loved, being up there 10 minutes before getting on the train and getting out, and then loved once in Philly, like 10 minutes later I was at the W, and the same thing the next day. Finished my talk a little bit early and looked at the schedule and was able to actually change my train in the Amtrak app for no fee. Now, I don't know if that was because of the class of ticket that I booked into or because the fare difference was actually less, but either way, there was no fee to instantly change my ticket and get an earlier train back, which is just great. So it's like a 4-hour train ride to either DC or Boston from New York, maybe almost 5 all the way to DC from New York. I'm not really sure.
No.
No?
On Amtrak? On Acela?
Yeah.
No. 2 and change.
All the way to DC?
From DC to New York? Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit longer than that, because I was trying to weigh in my head, like, okay, where would I rather, like, what the cutoff would be for flying versus taking the train. I think cost would be the first of all, because it's not going to be cheap to get like a family of 4 down to DC.
No.
But just, I think you've flown between New York and DC several times. I think I've done it a couple of times. You just, too much of a toss up with that air traffic control corridor and weather and stuff. But I don't think I would be able to fork over for a family of 4 to take the Acela, man. It would be super convenient, but pretty pricey.
Yeah, I don't know what I think they are advertising the new block time will be 2.5 hours. There's still some things I think they're trying to do to work out upping the speeds at certain places, but I want to say it's 2 hours and 45 minutes-ish, DC to New York.
Let's look it up while we're just chatting here. I'll just quickly look this up and see what.
Yeah, but it's definitely not 4 hours. It's under 3. If you do a metro liner, it's over 3. And that's where you can get into family affordability for 4, because they'll typically have summer specials for families and kids, but you got to go metro liner trains, which are slower and older trains. The seats are still, quote unquote, fine, but the trains are slower and they make more stops.
Says Amtrak.com, 3 hours and 1 minute, Penn Station, New York, down to Union Station in DC. And if you take that cheaper,
is that for the Acela, though?
That's for the Acela. Yeah, 3 hours and 1 minute. Do you know how much longer it looks like the Palmetto service, like the Metroliner is?
Palmetto's not the Metroliner. Palmetto is the one that goes all the way to Florida. Metroliner is a different train, but the Palmetto is probably 4 and change.
It is 24 minutes slower, 3 hours and 25 minutes, and that is $45 versus $134 for the Acela. So if you want to save 1/3 the price and get there 24 minutes later, you can take the Palmetto, which is
yeah. And like I said, on those trains, they'll run buy one, get one free, or kids travel free with parents sort of thing. So you can definitely save a lot more money with Metroliners.
Only 24 minutes slower. That is wild, man. I'm just gonna have to question. Yeah, hopefully get the new trains to get it down to at least an hour quicker or something like that.
I don't think it's that much quicker. Yeah, I want to say it comes in under 3 hours, but not under 2:30 if I remember correctly. And with the next gen trains, it is supposed to get better from a timing standpoint. From a capacity standpoint, they are adding seats and cars. I think that's been part of the problem of where you're seeing pricing, because like the last few times I've taken Acela. To come visit you for like Bilt stuff, it was wickedly expensive. There's just not enough capacity. So the new trains are bigger, more people. Clint from TPG had it on his Instagram feed. He got to try the new train on the way back. Definitely looks nice, looks comfy, but to your point, you need to see if they resolve the motion sickness stuff.
Yeah, I wonder. And then
which it never used to be that way in the beginning of when the Acela trains launched. So I have to think it has something to do with maybe parts on the trains just wearing out and more sway and stuff like that.
Yeah. Lost. Oh, I was going to talk like Amtrak points. I was curious. It looks like from that very expensive ticket, I only earned about 1,500 Amtrak points. So,
yeah,
man, I wish it was easier to access those RIP Chase transfers circa when did that die? Like 2016 or something like that?
I'd say definitely pre-COVID. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It's been a while. There used to be like the back door. You could like send them to JetBlue, I think, and send them to Amtrak.
Something like that.
But even that has died, because I remember trying that. I want to say right around COVID. But yeah, if you sign up for Amtrak's newsletters, they do send out, like I said, family offers periodically, which can be
actually helpful. Got one this week, man, because I was like, it's worth signing up now for this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find it real quick. I think it was bring a companion on. Oh, here it is. Bring a guest for free. Oh, in a roomette only. So if you get a roomette, which is like this one, that's on the Palmetto and stuff, right? You can get a roomette.
Yeah, that's on the Palmetto and on the auto train. Although you can't take the auto train from New York, you'd have to take the Amtrak down to DC and then switch to the auto train.
Looks like on the Palmetto, if you get a roomette, you can bring a companion for free, which we might use because you can take that from here up to Albany and get to upstate New York, rather than trying to mess with New York City traffic and all that. So maybe I'll take a look into this, man. Amtrak coming into life, maybe we'll have some more Amtrak content here on the Miles to Go podcast.
Yeah, and the great thing is that no matter how many trains you take, you'll never really have enough points for a redemption. So it'll all be great. I have done the lounge there. It's fine. I think the miss on the lounge is it's just there's no direct access to the gates, and so you're up above Moynihan Hall, which is super easy to get to the gates. So not
It
that it's
is
a
a
big
deep
deal.
line when they start boarding. Though.
Yes.
That was a line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I wish that they had like an express elevator down to the track level just so you could bypass the crowds. It's not a huge deal to go through the crowd, but that means you end up leaving the lounge early, and for what they charge for lounge access for those tickets, I haven't ever found it to be worthwhile. I did a review for TPG a number of years ago. Thought the experience was very nice, but it was a couple $100 extra for it. So
Let's I just want to make sure. So I'm going to see if I can. Here it is. So I earned 462 Amtrak points each way, and then it looks like they had a 25% point bonus for business class. So I got 115 extra points each way for that. So about 577 points. And I'll be honest, man, I have not looked at redeeming Amtrak points in a while. I'm gonna have to take a look at this. I'm imagining 577 is not anywhere getting you close to any kind of redemption. So you have to take a lot of Excella business class tickets to get there.
yeah, if I remember correctly, and please don't quote me on this because it's been a while, I do think you can use points to partially pay for a ticket.
You can, yeah.
But just to sort of get to like, if I remember correctly, I think the first real status level is 5,000 points. So I mean, you've got a ways to go, and I don't remember if the status bonuses count towards if the class bonuses count towards status. But even when you get to that next status level, because I did hit it once, it was like, I got some bonuses on earnings and stuff like that, but I didn't get anything like super awesome. So I wouldn't say unless you're going to use this to travel, like if you guys had a partner in Philadelphia or Delaware and you were doing this like every other week, you're not going to get a lot out of the bottom tier of Amtrak status.
No, looks like a business class Excella ticket from New York to DC on the random dates. Start anywhere from about 4,900 to 5,000 points one way. So it's kind of like take 10, get one free is what it would look like for me, which,
Well,
yeah, like,
it doesn't have to be. So it's a revenue based program, and so typically what I've done is I take Acela up to New York and back with you, and then we'll use our Amtrak points for like a Metroliner ride for the family. So those ticket prices are a lot cheaper. So there you could take 4 or 5 Acelas and get a train ticket or 2 on the Metroliner because the prices are usually so much less on non-peak times because the Metroliner trains are bigger and less fancy than the Acela.
for the whopping 24-minute savings there. Wow. I didn't expect it to be 24 minutes. That's it. Huh.
It depends. It depends on the train. Sometimes it can be that small. Other times it's a little bit longer. It just depends because there are a number of stops in between New York and DC, and it just depends on which ones each train is hitting. The Palmetto is going to hit less than the Metroliner. The Metroliner is much more local, if I remember correctly. So somebody who will correct us, I'm sure, because there are plenty of people listening I know who rely on Amtrak.
There you go. Overall, great way to travel. Super efficient. Got some work done. The Amtrak Wi-Fi was sufficient, I guess, to quickly surf my emails and fire off some things. And I hope I have more Amtrak destinations because that was way less stressful than going to the airport.
Definitely less stressful. I think that's probably the thing I prefer about Amtrak. The sway of the cars has definitely got me queasy the last couple times I've taken an Acela train. I think sufficient is about the best word you could use to describe the Wi-Fi on an Amtrak train. It's enough for email. I mean, you're not going to do much else, downloading files, stuff like that. Not going to happen. Maybe on the new trains. We'll see. I mean, at this point, Acela's, it's got to be 30 years old. I mean, I was taking the Acela train from DC to New York right when I moved down there. I want to say like late 90s, early 2000s. So those trains have to be 20 plus, if not 30 years old. So whatever Wi-Fi kits are on there, hopefully the new Wi-Fi kits are better.
There you go. Amtrak coverage.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Resort World. But first, since we are powered again by our good friends at Thrifty Traveler, it's such a coincidentally great time to be talking about them because this past, call it 10 days or so, maybe better part of 2 weeks, there have been some pretty fierce deals. So I don't think either you or I booked it, but I know a number of people from the Slack community booked the business class mistake fare on British Airways that Thrifty Traveler texted out. That one, if I remember correctly, was, call it plus or minus $1,200 round trip for a business class ticket to London, which was stellar pricing. And there were a bunch of different cities that you could book that from and a bunch of different dates. And then just this week, man, they've had a couple of killer things. So I was able to book friends on Seattle to Taipei because they shouted out a deal on that route with Delta. Rate's been that route's been a good route for awards. They noted some fares to Morocco, a place I have on my radar in a couple weeks. Be going there. And then, did you see the business class suites deal on DFW to Australia? Came out just a couple days ago.
I did not see that one. No.
83,000 miles one way, Auckland or Brisbane, November through March. Was definitely a bunch of different days on AA's new 789. So that's
nice.
The one. I think that's the one with the doors, which. Not a big door fan one way or another, but 80,000 one way to Australia or Brisbane, pretty solid. And in their peak season, if you will, their summer is our winter. So definitely a bunch of great thrifty deals that are out there right now. And from where I sit, this is not the first time that they've sponsored the show, but you and I talk about thrifty, quite a bit on the show, just because they really do pop up. Just a ton of deals. They are, for me at least, they're my go-to place to look for deal alerts. And, I continue to be surprised at how good they are at picking this stuff up.
Sign up, subscribe, support the show. Everybody appreciates it. And if you do not have spontaneous trip-itis like I do, then you will after signing up for the thrifty alerts. Because especially when those unicorn alerts show up in the text, man, I'll be in the middle of a meeting. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm heading straight to a laptop to check it out.
Yeah, there's some other new stuff that we're gonna be talking about over the next handful of weeks as part of the sponsorship. But to your point, my personal opinion is you can put in your preferred departure city, and they'll send you alerts. That I chose to select all of the U.S. departure cities, and I think you did too. And that's where you get these unicorn alerts, which are just some super crazy stuff. If you're not a Thrifty Traveler member now, we do have a discount for you on Thrifty Traveler Premium. You can use code GO20, GO20, you'll see it on the screen, at thriftytraveler.com/premium to sign up. They also have a new hotel service that actually we just started talking about it when it launched a little over a year ago. And it's another one of those, to your point about like finding great places to go and adding to the dreams of seeing all the different places that they find hotel deals at. So I am sad to have missed out on the business class deal. I almost hit the button on it just because $1,200 round trip. It's like, well, let me find a trip to plan for the family to go to Europe and burn it off with some Capital One miles, since I have a bunch of those sitting there and don't want to put any more money on my Capital One card right now. But I resisted the urge, Mr. Kerr, to add another trip to the radar just based on how long I've been gone for the past few months.
True that. And you are again in Vegas, once again recording today.
I am. And before we talk Bilt stuff, I wanted to just touch on Resorts World because, this is my place when I stay here. The Conrad, which is the tower I always shoot for, is the middle of the three tiers. You got Hilton property, Conrad, and then Crockford's, which is our like ultra luxury. But the Conrad rooms are beautiful. And, friend of the show, Michael Traeger, is the guy who always books my rooms here. He has some great connections at the property. And now that we're open on the Strip, I said, hey, let's bring some burgers over to the sales team just to say thank you because they've always taken such great care of me. And I guess I didn't realize how much I've been staying here because I brought my team over and we catered the sales team this week. And our contact, Joy, met me and brought me into the sales team conference room. We laid the burgers down, and then she's like, hold on, I want you to meet my boss. And she brought out the director of sales, who presented me with a gift because apparently I stay here way too much. And they wanted to thank me for my business, which I was like, wow, you guys are always awesome taking care of me. So I was definitely blown away that they wanted to give me a gift when I was just trying to thank them. I mean, I would say more often than not nowadays, I'm getting an upgrade when I'm here. And everybody's got their own fit and feel for where they want to be in Vegas. But I got to be honest, I know I tell this to a lot of people and I tell them why I want to be at Resorts World, but I talk about it on the show a whole bit. Property is always impeccably clean. Unlike a lot of other places in Vegas, there are not 7,000 people in line when you check in. They have enough check-in agents to get you through the check-in line quickly. It's all the little things that they do here that just save me a bunch of time. Elite line is always manned. I can check in a minute or two. There's a variety of good restaurants. Kusanori here is my favorite. And I just, I keep coming back to the fact that it doesn't feel crazy. It's not swamped with people. There aren't massive lines for the buffet, et cetera, et cetera. It feels much more peaceful. For a guy that's here in Vegas all the time, I just don't feel overwhelmed when I'm in the hotel. They do a really good job managing the crowds and the conferences when they're here. And, it's still my go-to place, man. It's my favorite of places to stay in Vegas.
And the rooms for a Conrad are just absurdly affordable, right? I mean, there's no other
Absurdly
Conrad.
affordable. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably the best kept secret about this property, and I'm sure they wish it wasn't the best kept secret because I'm sure they want to charge more. But I mean, I'm typically paying in the $150 range for a night at Conrad. During the summer, it was even cheaper than that. There were nights where it was $100 a night, and you contrast that with the Fontainebleau, which is sort of across the street, the newer property in town. And they're charging Bellagio rates, $300, $400, $500 a night for a product that is nowhere near as good as the Conrad product. So I still don't understand how they justify those prices across the street. I've been over a handful of times now to try their restaurants. They're still they're okay, not great. Property's fine. The rooms are fine. It doesn't have a lot of character, but they're charging 3 times what the Conrad is charging, what Resorts World is charging right across the street. So not sure how they're going to sustain that. And probably why there's not a whole lot of crowds over there. But man, I'll take Conrad at a buck and change a night versus the $400 a night at Fontainebleau any day of the week.
Yeah, I agree. I went to Fontainebleau once. I think we talked about it. Resorts World all the way.
All the way. All right, let's get into some Bilt stuff. We're, timing wise, that means we get to talk about rent day because this episode's going to drop before rent day. And we could talk about a little Bilt cash as well. You want to go rent day first or you want to go cash first?
Let's do cash first since it's a brand new concept to the Bilt program that we announced last week at the time of recording here. So we're introducing an entire new currency inside of the Bilt ecosystem. Number one, let me say nothing is happening or changing to Bilt points. The way you earn them, the way you redeem them, same as always, most valuable loyalty currency out there. Nothing to do with that. Bilt Cash is a replacement for Milestone rewards. Every 25,000 points that you earn in the Bilt ecosystem, any way that you earn those, you today get a Milestone reward. And it just didn't have the success that we wanted to have. If I looked in my own Bilt rewards account and saw that I had 4 unredeemed Milestone rewards, I was like, there's something wrong here that I'm not trying to redeem these and get maximum value here. Like, what else can we do to drive the needle and make folks motivated to continue engaging with us? And we took a bit of the playbook out of the things. There's a little bit of like MQDs, there's a little bit of PQPs, there's a little bit of AA loyalty points, all of these things that had, second currencies that we looked at. But, I think a lot of our concern was if we do some other point system like the airlines have done, it just gets a little bit confusing, right? If you're not a United diehard, you have no idea what a PQP is or how to use those.
Sure.
And I think we've seen some of the challenges that United's faced with PQPs in trying to manage a whole currency. So we said, let's just make it easy. Let's create Bilt Cash. For every 25,000 points you get, right now you're going to get $50 in Bilt Cash, and any Bilt Cash can be redeemed for things inside of the Bilt ecosystem. So this is dining, this is pharmacy, this is fitness classes, this is a Bilt hotel from the Bilt travel portal, Bilt $50 in hotel credit. And we think that's going to be a lot more impactful. So think about Bilt points. You can get maximum value outside of the ecosystem, transfer partners away or transfer points away. Bilt Cash, you can get maximum value inside of the Bilt ecosystem. And as we continue to grow this ecosystem, like today with the Bilt travel portal, there's now a way for everybody to get actually legit, $50 in value of taking that off your hotel stay. But, there's gonna be a lot more coming with Bilt Cash. I'll tell everybody. So what you see today, replacement for Milestone rewards. We got really positive feedback from everybody last week on that. And then I think you'll see, a lot further developments coming into 2026 with Bilt Cash. But that was the first news. So Ed, you sat on the call with Ankur and I where we kind of went through this. Any questions or anything you think that we need to clarify for folks as far as Bilt Cash goes?
I don't. Well, I guess maybe to clarify, because I understood it, but I know there are a couple of people on the call that sort of didn't get it. And just to emphasize something that you said, that this really doesn't affect anything else. This is, for folks that have spent enough in the Bilt ecosystem to have earned a Milestone reward, like me, same as you. I've never used up all of my Milestone rewards, so this is essentially just like a bonus. The way I think about this is the best way I can equate it is for the milestones that Hyatt gives away. So at every 10 nights, once you get past 60 nights in the Hyatt program, you can choose a gift. Maybe you get 10,000 points, maybe you get a Miraval BOGO award, whatever. And so here, Bilt is saying the same thing. They're giving you that cash to be able to choose from a list of things to spend in the ecosystem. I think this is a no-brainer improvement to Milestone rewards. Understand I have bias about the Bilt program, but I just think this is a really straightforward value prop. And I think if I know you guys, don't want to blow smoke up your fanny, Mr. Kerr, but if I know you guys, like this feels like the version 1 of Milestone rewards, 2.0, and that you guys will find out interesting ways to use this cash in the future just to make status more valuable. And I think about this in terms of like the first time I had Bilt Platinum we didn't have, a free Blade helicopter ride. I didn't have a free status match to Air France. Those are things that you guys have done to improve that status. And so now you've made spending in the Bilt ecosystem more valuable.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, there are some folks, again, who just didn't read the release. If you go and you look at the Bilt newsroom, this is like, it's actually, we call it a product release, where we talk in regular people, plain, transparent talk about what we're doing, not in press release jargon.
Right.
So I would encourage everybody to go read these things, because some people had the gut reaction of, oh, they're replacing Bilt points, you're killing it. Go down the rabbit hole.
Don't get that. Yes.
Any announcements of devaluation, it's like, come on, guys. Like, we're not going to do that. Like, we've worked very hard to make sure Bilt points are the most valuable out there. So definitely not the case. A program improvement objectively versus today's milestone rewards. I was excited to get that out. So that's number one, man. We had a lot of stuff. We announced the GoPuff stuff. We have, by the time you're listening to this, there will be a big announcement from Venmo. So our founder Ankur's out keynoting Money 2020 in Vegas. Actually by the time you listen to this, and we're announcing a pretty comprehensive partnership with Venmo, where you'll be able to pay your mortgage, pay your rent. Today, you've been able to pay your rent, but only if you're a Bilt cardholder with Venmo. Now it's going to be open to everybody. You can also check out at Bilt dining restaurants with Venmo, split the checks, all the stuff that you want to do, all while earning rewards. So, having folks like PayPal and Venmo behind us now continue to grow the ecosystem. There's a lot going on, but personally, Ed, I am excited about the November 1st rent day.
You are you? I don't know. Are you pushing all your points to the middle of the table again?
I tell you what, man, I was looking at a few things that, so we'll let everybody know. Hopefully you should have seen the headlines by now, but it is up to 100% transfer bonus with our brand new partners at Etihad. So based on your Bilt status, 25, 50, 75, or 100%, another reason to continue to go for that Bilt status. Although one of the things we announced with Bilt Cash is you will be able to use Bilt Cash to buy up to the next highest status for rent day transfer bonuses if you want to do that.
All right, so hold on that thought for 1 second, because I want to talk about this. This came up in our conversation with Ankur, and I got to tell you, this to me is genius. I mean, being able to say, like, look, if I spend enough to hit a milestone reward, but I can't just spend enough to hit platinum this year or whatever, that I still have the chance to buy my ticket on that one day where I want to take advantage of a transfer bonus. I don't know how you make that work financially from a Bilt standpoint, but that to me is just, that is such an engagement piece for folks that, like, hey, if I'm just shy of a status level, I still want to keep spending because I want to get that milestone ticket so I can take advantage of a super awesome rent day that fits me.
It's a bit of the gamification piece that makes it fun, right? Now, I think right now I'm going to cap this so people can only do this once a year. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, hey, you can do it over and over. But then again, if you're earning that many milestone rewards, you should earn platinum status anyway. So it's not really like a cap if you think about it. Just because we want to make it special, again, we will make sure that, we can always fulfill these transfer bonuses. And if everybody can buy up every rent day, that would become financially challenging. But it's a fun piece where you're like, hey, do I do it now? Like you guys don't obviously know the future rent days, but maybe
right.
You've got a partner that you really like now. And you're like, oh, do I pull the trigger or do I wait? It's like a bit of a gamble. It's kind of fun, right? Like it's so you can look at it and get guaranteed value. Excited about that. But look, man, it'd been a while since before we launched the Etihad partnership that I dug in and looked at redemptions. Redemptions, I think, again, everybody's been pretty open, and we've been open with them as well. Hey, I think one of the challenges is going to be that y'all have some pretty strict cancellation and change policies on your award tickets. So like it has to be a really good deal for folks to lock themselves in. And I think this transfer bonus can make that happen. We're flying down to Fort Lauderdale for a cruise as a family over the holidays. I've got everything booked except that return flight after the cruise is just like, I cannot believe how much a domestic flight is for a family of 4. Dude, I looked it up today in anticipation of this, and I'm hoping that availability is still there on the 1st because I can get a family of 4 on a JetBlue flight from Fort Lauderdale back to LaGuardia at the exact time on the exact date after the cruise that I need it for 15,000 Etihad points a person. So this is going to be, 7,500 Bilt points a person on rent day for what is like a $350 flight per person right now. So I am, number one, shocked that JetBlue has opened up that space to their partners at Etihad. But man, if it's 60,000 points total right now for family, and I confirm not 60,000 per person because that's what I assume based on how much it is.
Right.
15,000 per person plus like $25. That gets cut in half at rent day, and that is like a massive value. So definitely going to be pushing some points in to get some domestic JetBlue flights, especially living here. Did you see the old LaGuardia behind me on the background on YouTube? Like what a fantastic value. And if I can lock in that kind of value for JetBlue flights, including like Mint Transcons, it might be worth investing some of my points here on this rent day. Yeah,
the Mint Transcon thing, that's interesting to me. I've really struggled to find good pricing on that, so I'd have to look at the award pricing to figure that out. I really like this rent day offer. I just think based on everything I have going on right now with work and stuff like that, I don't think this is one I'm going to take advantage of, though I absolutely see the value. So I think I'm going to sit this one out, and I wish maybe that you'd done this, I don't know, like May of next year.
Yeah, it's worth everybody else checking it out. I'm going to pull up just some other prices on their own metal here from like New York to Abu Dhabi and just see what we can get that down. If you're looking to fly business class on, let's see what I can find here. One guest business, and we'll look at it. Everybody knows, how great the onboard Etihad product is. I think, unfortunately, just moved the A380 from New York to Toronto, I believe is what they did. So that's a little bit,
yeah.
That's a little tough.
I think you and I both have Etihad flights booked via AA next year, if I remember correctly. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if I'm taking mine because it's in January. It's a little bit of an awkward time now the way the schedule's lined up for me. Do you think you're still taking your safari?
I really hope so. is what I would say. We don't know. We're gonna have to find somebody to watch the kids because they're in the good old school calendar now. Like some family member's gonna have to come because you got to take them and pick them up every day. On
you can't get Uncle Julian to do that.
Yeah, I should call Uncle Julian up and be like, hey, every single day, can you come and watch my kids and pick them up?
Right. I mean, I'll split it with him, cover my Amtrak train. I'll take half. He takes half. I mean, how long it can't be that bad.
I mean, it's not a short trip. So look, here's a good redemption. I was just looking up JFK to Abu Dhabi business class. Let me look at what this is on the A350 1000. So it's 120,000 points now. So that's 60,000 Bilt points and $544 for business class JFK to Abu Dhabi. Like pretty good deal there. So 60,000 Bilt points for business class to Abu Dhabi nonstop on the Etihad products. Like, if you can find these redemptions, and I think, and you got some Bilt status, I think well worth, taking a look here, which I'm going to do now for my return flight from Kenya. I'm going to be like, hey, is this the way that we're getting back in business class?
Yeah. All right, well, I want to talk real quickly about the new American Airlines card, but before we do that, I want to talk about Slack community because I want to touch on our meetup that you missed out on. This actually was last night at time of recording. For folks that don't know, we have a way to support the show on a monthly basis. You can spend a few bucks. We also have an annual option where you can join our Slack community. We try to do a happy hour every week on Zoom. I'd say we're probably at the 3 out of every 4 weeks right now, given how crazy my travel schedule is. There's a bunch of channels on there where travel experts like Mr. Kerr and I will answer your questions, and then a whole bunch of cool people. We did 2 meetups in the month of October. We did one in Disneyland, which Mr. Kerr was able to be there for, and then one last night here in Vegas. Sort of actually a 2-day meetup too, because a couple folks came in early, and we did the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere Friday night. But we had, hope I don't leave names out, but Melissa, Amber, Tracy, Christy, Sally, Dan, Les, and all the P2s, and we hung out at my favorite burger joint in Vegas on the Strip.
Oh, what is that?
They boozy shakes and the whole bit. I got some good selfies that we'll fold in here of us all hanging out in front of the fabulous Five Guys sign on the Las Vegas Strip. There were some good reviews of the boozy shakes, which you still have yet to try, Mr. Kerr. You need to come down for a boozy shake.
I would love to. Might be in Vegas one more time this year, as it turns out. So we'll see. But
Really?
Hopefully you are not. Hopefully you've been there enough that you will not be there when I'm there.
I am hoping that I am not, but the chances that I am are quite high.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about the AAdvantage Globe Mastercard, which I'll admit was sort of what's the best way to say it? It got dropped on a Sunday, and so I don't know if somebody broke the embargo or whatever, but I think we were all kind of surprised to see this pop up out of nowhere. I've seen a bunch of different opinions on the card, but let me tee up what the card offers, and then we can share our opinions real quick. I don't know if we're Kerr and I have not talked about this prior to the show, so I'll be curious if we agree or disagree on this. But high level, 3 AAdvantage points per dollar for every dollar you spend on American Airlines purchases, 6 miles per dollar for AAdvantage hotel bookings, 2 miles per dollar spent on restaurants, which includes takeout and delivery, 2 miles per dollar on what they call rides and rails. It's taxi, rideshare, public transit, 1 mile per dollar on everything else. Card carries a $350 annual fee, and I'll just list some of the benefits. You get 4 Admirals Club passes to use on a yearly basis. You get Turo credits. So Turo is an alternative rental car platform. $30 a month in Turo credits, up to $240 over the course of the year. $100 splurge credit, which you can use on AAdvantage hotel bookings, and then a couple other things, concert tickets, stuff like that. And then it comes with $100 statement credit for in-flight purchases on American Airlines flights, as well as a companion pass, although you don't get the companion pass until you pay the annual fee in year 2. So going to stop there for a second and ask you your opinion, Mr. Kerr.
Yeah, first check bag free. Clarification on that Turo credit is $30 per Turo trip completed, up to $240 annually.
Oh, it's not a monthly credit. Oh, I missed it.
Not monthly.
Okay, all right.
I've tried Turo 3 times. The owner has canceled on me right before I had to pick it up all 3 times. 3 strikes and you're out, Turo. Sorry. Just
yeah, I'm not a Turo fan.
My personal experience there. And sign up bonus 90,000 miles after 5,000 purchases in the first 4 months. I think it's fine. I think it's, the executive cards is probably pricing folks out a little bit too much. It's certainly not an everyday spend card. This card, more compelling, I would call it, as an everyday spend with 2x on rides, rails, restaurants. We've seen like close to these sign-up bonuses on the old Barclays cards after first purchase, for a much lower annual fee or no annual fee the first year. So, not for me, but I can understand why American Flyers might, take a swing at this rather than the executive card. I think the real downside obviously is only 4 Admirals Club passes a year. So I would kind of have a hard time defining who this is for. Like if you're a, American Flyer, then the base cards seem pretty good with decent sign-up bonuses. If you're diehard knee lounge access, you're going to be going for the executive card. So I don't know, man. Like, how would you define who the customer is for this card?
I'm glad you asked, Mr. Kerr. I'm glad you asked. So I would say 2 things. First off, I think this is the card for everyone else. That's the way I'm gonna frame this card up. And I would say there's finally an American Airlines AAdvantage credit card that I can recommend to someone who isn't a road warrior, because I think that the value prop for the entry level cards on American just isn't there. Yes, you get a little bit of benefit in terms of like free check bag, stuff like that, but you'd never want to spend on those cards. Like, it just wasn't worth it. So here, one of the benefits I forgot to mention, by the way, which I think is a really interesting one, is the 5,000 loyalty point bonus every 4 qualifying flights, which you can do 3 times a year. So this card also gives you a head start on bumping yourself up in status. So if you're an occasional business traveler or you're an occasional family traveler, this card can help you get to elite status. So here's why I really like this card. At a $350 annual fee, yes, I acknowledge that's not $99, but nowadays $350 is what I would consider to be the middle of the road annual fee. So if you want a card that's got great benefits, I don't think most people should hold a card that has a $700 annual fee. They're just not going to get the value out of it unless they work really hard. And here at $350, I mean, even if you just use the companion pass on a yearly basis, I think you're going to earn back your annual fee. Now, there's a $99 fee on the companion pass, but I think you're probably going to earn back that annual fee on that companion pass. And then you've got the $100 on in-flight purchases. You got the $100 on, the annual splurge credit. And I couldn't confirm this at time of recording, but the 6 AAdvantage miles per dollar on AAdvantage hotel bookings. I mean, you and I have used AAdvantage hotel bookings in the past to help earn with status. So I would assume that you're still earning the regular points you earn on an AAdvantage hotel booking, and then you're earning an additional 6 points on your credit card. I mean, for an everyday card, if you're looking to hold a co-brand card, so I'm not saying you should, because you and I love flexible currency, but if you're going to hold a co-brand card, I challenge you to come up with a better alternative for the occasional flyer than this card. It's not a huge annual fee. You're going to get a couple of things with the card that I think very easily cover the annual fee. And then there's a bunch of other nice to haves in the card. I mean, this is a card that I think addresses a lot of people who are just occasional flyers and can get decent value out of it.
I do think it is stronger than the Delta SkyMiles Platinum card, because you don't even get lounge access with that at all.
Yep.
Or I'm pretty sure you don't get a companion pass either with unless you spend some massive amount.
Right.
So yeah,
I put this up against United Explorer card for sure.
It reminds me of a conversation I had on a business meeting Friday morning. Somebody was asking me about the Bilt wallet, and they can link any program. This gentleman, who is a lifetime professional in the hospitality industry, said, he was like, "Richard, I only use my Delta SkyMiles card because I got to get as many SkyMiles as necessary. So can I link it to the Bilt wallet, and get Bilt points and SkyMiles card or SkyMiles?" I was like, "You absolutely can, but can I ask you why you use that card instead of the Amex Gold?" And he was like, "Well, I don't want Amex points." And I was like, "Okay, I can't. Sometimes I can't let it go, man." I'm like, and we
like, let me dig in.
Moved on from the conversation on there, but I was like, I'm going to come back to that. I was like, I can't. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like when I think about, so like, So let's think real quickly about United cards. So the Explorer card is the $150 card, and the Quest card is the $350 card for United. There, I mean, you're getting 2 United Club Passes with the Explorer card. I don't remember if Quest comes with Club Passes. I'm not even sure if it does. It has those cards have United travel credits and stuff like that. So they have things that are maybe a little bit easier to use to burn down some of the annual fee. But I don't think they go anywhere near as far from like a base benefit standpoint, like the Companion Pass. And on top of that, man, I mean, I don't want to put any spending on those cards. I mean, effectively, you're topping out at 2 miles per dollar on like dining and travel on those cards, which I don't think is a competitive category. And here, again, I'm not saying it's massive, but 6 miles per dollar on top of an Advantage Hotel booking. I mean, that's the Advantage Hotel platform is already someplace I consider when I'm making hotel bookings. So be able to earn 6 on top of that. Again, I'm not saying you're going to put a ton of spending on this card, but I'd challenge somebody to tell me a better co-brand card amongst the airlines right now than these. Maybe there's a Southwest card. I don't know those cards quite as well, but amongst Delta and United, I don't think there's anywhere near as good a co-brand card than this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I again just would struggle with, hey, the non-rower are paying $350 a year rather than getting the base card and a similar sign-up bonus. Like, I don't know, maybe I have to do a refresher now that the Barclays cards are going on what the city-based cards are at. And then really, if you're after American miles, right, the Strata Elite and the city cards that can transfer into American might even be a better deal than this card. So I guess it depends on what you're after.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I don't want to like beat a dead horse. I mean, I think like, again, where we get into Strata Elite is what, a $600 card? I mean, I feel like most people aren't going to get the value of the higher dollar cards. And here, I think, I mean, between say like buying Wi-Fi or buying a box of food on a plane and being able to use up the $100, in-flight credit on a, family trip of 4, you're down from $350 to $250 without really a whole lot of work. And then if you use the Spurge credit, which I have to imagine seems pretty easy, just like we've seen with Strata, now you're down to $150. Like, it just doesn't take a lot of work to burn down a $350 annual fee. Where with Strata, you're right. Like, there are a bunch of great things about Strata, but you're locking in for $600 a year. And so I don't know that there's a lot of things like the whole, and trust me to say, I don't remember all the details off the top of my head because I know they're fuzzy, but it was sort of like you get 6 or 8 points per dollar on dining if it's Friday night between 6 and 9. It was like, the Strata had a lot of hair on it for how to earn bonus points where, I mean, again, still not going to put a ton of spend on this card, but I don't think it's hard to get to figure out the value prop where I feel like Strata is just, I don't know, there's a little hair on that one for me.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, I know we both have lots of stuff to do today, and we've recorded much longer than I expected to. I just enjoy this special time with you, Mr. Kerr, each and every week.
Yeah. I'm trying to. I had some interesting. Should I tell these stories or not? I just leave everybody hanging.
Oh, I love this. This is great.
We had some interesting member experiences. Let me just say this. If you have not gone into the Bilt app, clicked on your profile in the top right corner and applied to be in the close friends group, you can become a Bilt close friends where we kind of give you a sneak peek under the hood, early heads up, some additional benefits, like we gave everybody GoPro credits to use for our delivery. But we also had a happy hour, I think I mentioned, and I had a few really passionate members come to happy hour. And then a couple of those members also show up at the Bilt office in the Bilt Cafe and went to our head of security and the guys there requested that I come down into the Bilt Cafe. Let me just say, I love the passion, ladies and gents. Love the passion for Bilt. I may not be available on demand to pop out of whatever meeting or I got going on to come down and see you, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate the passion. So let's harness that passion, but sometimes let's direct the passion elsewhere. Might be a good way to say it. And that's my story.
Oh, I love it. Well, if they were Slack members, I will apologize on their behalf.
They were not Slack members. Nope, not Slack members. They were passionate Bilt members.
Well, I'm a passionate Bilt member as well. So next time I come to the cafe, I expect you to come downstairs.
I will happily come downstairs. Let's just say that they took it a little bit further than that. If I'm available, I will run downstairs. But yeah, anyways, that's my story.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. Well, I hope that there's more to that story that I get to hear after we shut the button. That's where we stop recording. But so Toronto is next on your radar. Anything else fun on the horizon?
We're going to take advantage of some weekends up here in the fall. We're going to go see, the area that we are not familiar with, Hudson Valley, upstate New York, maybe a little bit of Connecticut. We're going to check it out. So we're excited to get out of the city for some weekends.
Yeah, there's a couple of cool little places that you can visit that I'll shoot you. Season's probably over right now, but there's also a cool little amusement park up in Connecticut that I think you should hit that I hit back in the RV days. Wooden roller coaster that goes through the trees and stuff like that. So more on that when the weather's a little bit warmer, Mr. Kerr. I actually have an amusement park visit coming up. We're headed to Orlando for the other park, doing Universal, doing little horror nights at Universal a couple days after this.
I don't want to go to that, so have fun. Not a haunted house guy.
No. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how scary it is. But we got some friends coming with us for that. And then I got a little bit of overseas stuff going to Europe, Lisbon, brief stop in Morocco that we'll talk about on a future episode. And then oddly enough, back to Vegas, maybe at the same time Mr. Kerr is. But got some stuff to talk about with Thrifty Travel over the next couple weeks, some new stuff that they have rolling out. Big thanks to them for sponsoring the show. Big thanks to Mr. Kerr for hanging out with me on a Sunday. Until we upload again, we've got miles to go. The button is already pushed. All I do is push your button.